Those who know me know that I've always been a techie, meaning I've always loved technology and what it offers. From the days of writing Fortran or COBOL in a dumb terminal connected to a mainframe to today, using an iPad Pro to do video and photo editing, etc. Now, let's face it, do you really want to read through this fantastic book by Paul McCartney on your iPad or any digital reading device? I really don't think so. Seeing these fantastic photographs up close, turning the pages to explore the next awesome picture is far, far better in a book than a digital device. The same really goes for a novel. The smell of the paper, the tactile feel of the pages, and the feel of the book in your hand is far better than just holding a digital reader with glare. Glare? Try that on a beach this summer. A paper book is looking pretty good now, eh? To be real, this is all great, but there are other real important benefits by reading print on paper. Let's explore these benefits together and see what I mean. Mobile devices and e-readers have changed the way we read for sure. In fact, these devices have made it faster and easier to access more of the written word than ever before. But does the increase in availability and volume of the written information mean we're reading better? A recent study comparing reading digital versus paper formats indicates comprehension amount and other core competencies is greater when reading on traditional paper as opposed to a screen. In fact, this same study suggests that reading on paper is a better way to train your brain to process more complex information. One of the big benefits of reading on paper is that it has been shown to boost cognitive ability in several ways. Firstly, the tactile experience of holding a book, turning its pages, engages multiple senses, including touch and spatial awareness. This sensory stimulation enhances memory retention and comprehension. The physicality of the paper also provides a sense of progress and helps readers establish a mental gap of the content they are reading. Moreover, reading on paper encourages focused and deep reading. Unlike digital devices, paper does not offer distractions like notifications or hyperlinks coming at you at all times. This uninterrupted reading experience allows the brain to fully immerse itself in the text, leading to better concentration and improved understanding of complex ideas. Your brain is not only constantly processing information, but it's also mapping where that information came from, so it can be more easily recalled when needed. Our brain is like a big hard drive, whereas the ability to constantly scroll through a website, a social media feed, or an ebook, it makes it difficult for your brain to orient itself where it has encountered information. The more standardized nature of information on paper pages allows for easier and more reliable mental mapping to help you read faster and more accurately. This is supported by research that suggests that the spatial layout of information of a physical page aids in memory recall. Readers often develop a mental association between the content and its location on the page, facilitating easy retrieval of information. This process enhances comprehension and retention of details. Reading on paper promotes a slower pace compared to digital reading. This leisurely reading speed allows the brain to process information more thoroughly, analyze nuances, and engage in critical thinking. It provides the necessary time for reflection, synthesis of ideas, and the development of a deeper understanding of the text. For example, athletes who only sprint, running a marathon is a challenging task. The same goes for readers who only read in short bursts, which is common, let's face it, in today's digital world. On the other hand, reading in paper format, where the word counts exceed 500 words, such as in novels, nonfiction books, and newspapers or magazine articles, it expands your attention span and trains your brain for longer durations of concentration and focus. Even in this digital age, paper remains essential for many office workers. For example, All the benefits I have talked about so far apparently show up in the office as well. Remember the paperless office that was touted years ago? Never happened. Why, in today's digital world, would paper have an appeal? Well, youth today see life as a consortium of both online and offline activities. A misconception is that youth regard print and paper as old fashioned and irrelevant. But research has shown paper remains important to office workers under 35. Emails, for example, many times are printed and read. In total, a study conducted by Keypoint Intelligence showed that 62% of surveyed office workers always or sometimes preferred working on paper. Employees under the age of 35 were even more likely to prefer working on paper than their older counterparts. This is sure interesting to say the least. Who knew? Researchers have also found that people who read on paper usually have higher recognition of how well they have understood the text on paper rather than screen readers. This skill is called metacognition. The word cognition means the mental action of increasing knowledge and understanding. Metacognition simply means thinking about one's own thinking. Other researchers have found screen readers often believe they understand a text better than they really do, and they are more likely than paper readers to overestimate how well they would do on a test of the materials they have read. So why paper? Why does it help so much? Well, the human brain is a muscle like any other, and exercising this muscle properly and regularly is important to keep it in shape. Studies show that reading in a paper format not only increases memory capacity, but also makes us more careful and thoughtful readers that engage with information in a more substantive way. In addition, reading on paper has a capacity to increase our ability to focus more intensely for extended periods of time. It was only a few years ago it was predicted digital books would far outsell paper printed books. Did that happen? Nope. According to the most recent Pew Research Center study, traditional printed books is still the most popular reading format for both adults and children. In fact, a survey conducted said 75% of Americans claim they read a book in some format over the last year. 32% say they only read printed books. 33% said they read both print and digital. And 9% say they only read digital books. One sad statistic is that 23% of the respondents said that they don't read any books at all, and that's a real shame. So print outsells digital by 4 to 1. So to wrap up this episode, reading on paper is still very viable and preferred by most. Reading on paper enhances cognitive ability through sensory engagement, improved concentration, spatial memory, active reading practices, all at a leisurely reading pace. These factors combine to create a rich reading experience that nurtures comprehension, memory retention, and higher order thinking skills. Well, students, that's the class for today. One last comment. I know someone out there is wondering about paper books, magazines, newspapers, etc., killing trees. Well, I recently did an episode about why the use of paper is so very important for the sustainability of the forest. I highly recommend you watch that episode and get a much better understanding of the use of paper and the forest. Scan the QR code on the screen also to be taken to the Accent Opaque website with more outstanding information. Well, now it's time for me to start reading this fantastic book. If you haven't, subscribe and ring the bell so you get alerted to future episodes. And with that, I'm Jim Kohler, Slaughterhouse Paper Professor, and I sure hope to see you in the next Paper Professor episode.